Welcome back to the fixtures football channel, and today we are back with this week's Premier League preview for game week 21. Now, before we get into this week's games, let's take a look at how I got on last week and how I guess the Premier League teams got on last week as well. So, if this wants to load up properly, would be ideal. There we go. So this is how the games went last week, and in comparison to my predictions. So Aston Villa Leeds finished 2-1 to Aston Villa. I went 3-2 Aston Villa, so I'm giving myself half a point for that. Man United, Man City finished 2-1 to Manchester United. Big 3 points for Manchester United in that game. I went 1-0. I gave myself half a point again. Given that it probably should have finished 1-0 had the linesman and referee did their job properly and disallowed our first goal. Definitely shouldn't have counted. Definitely should not have counted. Wolves versus West Ham was next. Wolves won that game 1-0. I thought that would finish as a 2-2 draw. I was very wrong about that. Nottingham Forest then beat Leicester City by 2-0. I thought Leicester might just sneak that 1-0. So again, I'm wrong. Brighton then battered Liverpool 3-0. I actually did say Liverpool would taste defeat against Brighton. I said Brighton would win that game 2-1. So I've given myself half a point again. Not a bad prediction. Not many people would have had Liverpool losing to Brighton. Everton Southampton, that finished 2-1 Southampton. I went 1-0 Everton, so very wrong about that. Chelsea then took on Crystal Palace. And that game finished 1-0 Chelsea. I said it would be 2-0 Chelsea. Half a point again. Brentford played Bournemouth. I said 2-0. It finished 2-0, sorry. So a big old tick and a point for me. Newcastle Fulham. I said 0-0. Finished 1-0 Fulham. Newcastle. Fulham, of course, had penalty disallowed because Mitrovic struck it into his own foot or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it happened. But Newcastle had a penalty. Fulham had a penalty disallowed. And Newcastle scored in the last minute. So again, I've given myself half a point. A bit cheeky on that one, but I'm taking it. Arsenal smashed Spurs 2-0. I said it would be 3-0. So I'll give myself half a point. And then finally, to round up the game week, Man United played Crystal Palace. I said 2-0 Man United. It finished 1-0. Michael Olise scoring that world-class free kick at the end. And Man City beat Spurs by 4-2. I said it'd be 3-0, so I was wrong. Arsenal might still win the league. I don't know. What do you think? Well, let's look at the league table. And Arsenal are top of the Premier League table. 5 points clear at the moment with a game in hand. They're a pretty good team, to say the least. They are a very, very good team. Arsenal do still have to go play Manchester City twice, which obviously makes it a little bit more difficult for the Gunners, but it's hard to say that Arsenal aren't the favourites right now. Manchester City are, of course, in second place. 42 points. They are 5 points below Arsenal and 3 points against Manchester United, who are in third, 39 points after 19 games. Newcastle are 1 point below United with 38 points with the same amount of games played. And we've come out the top four is where we see a big drop off. Newcastle and Fulham. Not Newcastle and Fulham. Tottenham with 33 and Fulham with 31. Both having played an extra game over those teams in the top four. 2 games in hand over, 2 games extra over Arsenal. It's all the way down in 9th and 10th where we find Liverpool and Chelsea with 28 points apiece. Liverpool have played a game less than Chelsea, so a win in that game in hand could take them up as high as 6th. But we'll have to wait and find out about that, of course. Moving down into the relegation zone is where we find West Ham, Everton and Southampton, all with 15 points after 19 games. Bournemouth just outside it, as are Wolves and Leicester with 16 and 17 points apiece. all once again having played 19 games. So both sides, both ends of the Premier League, it is very close. Who will end in that relegation zone and who will be in and around those top 4 spots on who will finish where. If we win against Arsenal, we will be in the level. But we will be level with Man City, but they've got a game in hand at that point. Unless Man City lose their game against Wolves. Chances aren't going to happen. Right, this ain't great. But what I'm going to quickly go do, I'm going to go get myself some water because my throat hurts. And I'm not going to be able to finish this preview without it. So, while I'm gone, I'll leave up the league table. I'll be 2 minutes. Let me get some water and I'll be back. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. City will win, then they'll move up to 45 points. Yes, but look, obviously, I never want Man United to lose. Obviously. But if I'm having to choose between Man City winning the league and Arsenal winning the league, I'm picking Arsenal. Which means if Man United have to lose on Sunday to ensure Man City don't win the league, I'll take a defeat. That's what I'd say. Not that I want us to lose. But if it's in the ultimatum of Man United win and Man City win the league, or Arsenal win and Arsenal win the league, give it to Arsenal. But yeah, so first game of the week. It's Liverpool versus Chelsea, and I mean, as we were saying, 9th and 10th for these two giants of the Premier League. Not where they want to be. Obviously, it never seems to get better for Liverpool at the moment. They're just playing awfully. Lost 3-0 to Brighton last week. 3-1 to Brentford the week before. And then only just managed to get a 2-1 win over Leicester the week before that, thanks to 2 own goals. Really, really has been awful, Liverpool, in recent weeks. And Chelsea, while they haven't been great, you look at while they won last week, lost to Man City and deserved to lose, drew with Nottingham Forest. I do see a team in transition there. I do see a team getting better there. And I think, in a way, I feel a bit sorry for Chelsea at the moment because they have got so many players out injured. 10 players missing. And most of them, you would argue, are first team regulars in N'Golo Kante, Raheem Sterling, João Felix, Ben Chilwell, Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Edouard Mendy. These are all first team players that would be starting for them should they have been fit. And to be missing all these players is a big deal. I think, look, they've signed they've signed Noni Madueke. They've signed, what's his name? Mudryk as well. So they are signing players and they are looking to bolster their squad with all these players out injured. But that doesn't make this game any easier. For Liverpool, they've got some key players out as well. They've got 7 players out. You got Luis Diaz, Jota, Van Dijk. Those are the big misses. Players like Roberto Firmino's out. Looks like Darwin Núñez will be fit to be able to play. Whether or not that's a good thing or not for Liverpool fans, I'm not sure. But it looks like he will be fit and available to play for Liverpool in this game, which does make the game interesting. I was going to say, if I have to make a prediction, that's the point. That's the whole point of the series, Finn. That's the whole point of the series. It is a tough one to call. It is, but I am going to go for. I mean, iToxic YT has gone for a 2-1 Chelsea win, and I think Liverpool win it. No, I'm going 1-1. Liverpool often turn up in these sort of games. I remember at the start of the season when Liverpool played Man City. Liverpool were playing dreadfully. They turned up and they blew Man City away at times in that game. And I have a funny feeling they might do something similar today. So Liverpool 1, Chelsea 1. Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. I don't think anyone really cares about this game, so we'll keep it quite quick. Neither team are great. I think both teams will probably end up getting relegated. You look at both of their positions in the league table. Neither of them are particularly safe. Nottingham Forest's higher in the table, and I think that's for good reason. They have got a good group of players. Nottingham Forest recently just signed Chris Wood from Newcastle, and I think that is a good signing for them. And I think they will win this game. Maybe not because of him, but I think they will win the game. I'm going 2-0 Nottingham Forest. 2-0 Nottingham Forest. I think Nottingham Forest are a better team and they will win the game. Next up is Leicester City versus Brighton. And I mean, Leicester have been kind of one of the what's the opposite of a dark horse? Disappointments of the season? I don't know. But yeah, they've been so disappointing this season. Leicester were 15th in the league, while Brighton, they have been the dark horses alongside Fulham, all the way up in 7th. And I don't see a world in which Leicester win this game. I don't see a world in which Brighton don't blow them away, in a sense. Robert De Zerbi has that Brighton team playing absolutely fantastically at the moment. And he deserves so much kind of praise and credit for the job he's done there since taking over from Graham Potter. He looks like an absolutely fantastic manager. And I wouldn't be surprised to see other managers and other teams sniffing around Brighton for Robert De Zerbi's signature, as they were and as they did for Graham Potter. Leicester, they've got injuries, but I don't think Brendan Rodgers is dealing with that squad very well. I get that, like I said, they've got a lot of injuries at the moment, and that makes it harder for Rodgers. But I don't think that's good enough. I think Leicester, they're better than what they've shown. Their players are better than what they've shown. And it's a tough position for Rodgers, because do you say he should be sacked? Because he's proven that he can do a job here for Leicester, and has done since he was in charge. Obviously got him into the Europa League, Europa Conference League, got him playing European football semi-consistently. And now it's all going wrong. Has he earned the right to a bit of time? I don't know. I think Leicester lose this game, and I think Brighton win it 3-0. Next up, Southampton versus Aston Villa. Southampton have come into a bit of form at the moment. They really, really have. Beat Everton last week. Week before, lost to Nottingham Forest. They were winning the cup. That's it, isn't it? So I think I did the same last week. I'm certain I did the same. I said the same thing last week, and I found out it was in the cup. It is. Here we go. So, beat Everton last week. Beat Man City 2-0 in the Carabao Cup. Beat Crystal Palace 2-1 in the FA Cup. They're going on a bit of a run at the moment. And Nathan Jones, who, after that Nottingham Forest game, there was already people calling for his head. Now, he seems to have settled the ship, and performances are improving. And then you have Aston Villa, who, under Unai Emery, have been fantastic. Won in their last game against Leeds, although they were lucky because Leeds were probably the better side on the day, but they got the 3 points. Drew to a resurging Wolves side under Julian Lopetegui. Beat Tottenham 2-0 on New Year's Day. Yes, they lost to Aston Villa, to Liverpool, sorry, granted. Beat Chelsea. Drew with what, like we said, a very, very good Brighton side. So, under Unai Emery, they have been very, very good, Aston Villa. And I do think this game could be quite an interesting one. Two, I think, more defensive and conservative managers, to say for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if it finished 0-0. Both teams happy to take the draw. But I don't know. You look at Southampton in the bottom of the league, they need points. And then you look at where Aston Villa are. They've slowly but surely escaped from that relegation zone where they were under Steven Gerrard and find themselves in a very comfortable position in mid-table. And I think Aston Villa will just make themselves more comfortable, more at home in that mid-table role with a 2-1 win. So far, I've given no home wins. That's about to change. West Ham versus Everton. It's the battle of who's worse and whose manager needs to be sacked first. Honestly, both managers, if neither side wins this game tomorrow, both managers could be sacked. That's the situation both these clubs are in. It is a dire state of affairs at both West Ham and Everton. Both teams need to win this game. Both teams need a good performance. And if not, they need to sack their managers. Or, if they don't sack the managers, they need to stick with them for the rest of the season. For me. Because, well, if I was those, their chairmen, their respected chairmen, both of them would have been gone by now. I think it's ridiculous. We're on the 20th of January and managers haven't been sacked. If they are going to be sacked. Because, for me, it's January. This is your chance to get someone in the building and to build around him. Get the players he wants in the building. And how long can you afford to leave it? How long can you wait and sit there and go, right, we won't do it just yet. We won't do it yet. You've got to be like that. Just, he's not doing it. It's not working out. Gone. And West Ham and Everton haven't done that. And what? So come, let's say February the 8th, then they decide, we're going to sack him. But what's this new manager going to do? You're back in David Moyes. You're back in Frank Lampard with signings. Obviously, West Ham just signed Danny Ings. Looks like Everton actually want to sign Mikel Antonio from West Ham. You're backing these managers with players to then sack them 2 weeks after the window's closed, to then get a manager in who has to deal with this squad, which isn't his, and he's had no say in. I think it's bizarre that these two managers are still in a job, given that I do think at some point they probably will be sacked. And, I mean, I'm not surprised by Everton, because they did the same sort of thing last year with Rafa Benitez. Sacked Rafa after the window, after they've just sold players like Lucas Digne. to then bring in Frank Lampard, who Luca Digne would have been a player that I think Frank Lampard would have enjoyed using and would have preferred over Mylenko. I think West Ham, West and Everton, they need to sort their shit out at home. That being said, I do think David Moyes will get one over his former club. I think West Ham are better than Everton. I think Everton are. I don't know. They're up shit's creek without a paddle. I think they've got a good group of players there, Everton. But Frank Lampard just cannot manage them. And look, I've said I don't rate Lampard for a while. 2-0. 2-0 West Ham. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Crystal Palace weren't great against Manchester United, but they did get, obviously, that late last-minute goal, which did seal them a draw. Newcastle, they've been great this season, haven't they? A bit annoying, really, how good they've been, Newcastle, if anything. Far too close to Manchester United for comfort. Far too close for them. While Crystal Palace currently sitting 12th. And I am interested to see how this game goes, because I do think Crystal Palace have it in them to cause an upset, to win this game. Do I think they will or not? I'm not sure. It's hard to call. I can see it going any which way, but it's hard not to back Newcastle, given the form that they've been in this season, how well they've been playing. They're just a very, very good footballing side, aren't they, Newcastle? And it's annoying because how long it took Manchester United to kind of get back to this level and how quickly Newcastle have done it. And especially due to the relative lack of money they've spent. Obviously, people will always go, oh, of course they're doing well. They've got the richest owners in football. But you look at the money they've actually spent, they haven't spent that much. Look at, obviously, you've got some big outlays. Isaac for 60 million. Big money. He's been injured most of this season. But you've got players like Bruno Guimaraes, about 40 million. Smart bit of business. And type of business they were doing with Joel Linton, with St. Maximan and Mike Ashley. We've hardly seen the Saudi money be spent. This is just money that kind of was there and should have been used through Mike Ashley, which the club has generated over however many years of being in the Premier League. And just, I don't know. Newcastle are very good, essentially. And I think I will give them the game. I'm going to go 3-1 Newcastle. I need to start giving some more home wins. This is getting bad. Leeds versus Brentford. We'll keep it quite quick. Leeds, they play good football. Results aren't quite coming. And what's their manager's name? Jesse Marsh. Jesse Marsh essentially said that against Aston Villa, we played the good stuff. The good stuff. We played well. We played good football. And while results aren't coming right now, as long as we keep playing well, we keep doing the fundamentals, we keep playing in this way, results will come. And I do agree with him. Brentford, on the other hand, they play good stuff and results are coming. And that's why they're 8th in the Premier League at the moment. Thomas Frank, he might be a whiny bitch sometimes. He's a very, very, very good football manager. And he's got that Brentford team playing fantastically. Ivan Toney's a bagsman. But I feel Leeds getting something in the game. 1-1. Man City versus Wolves. Man City are winning the game. Man City are winning the game. Julian Lopetegui's come in, and I think he's done a good job at Wolves at kind of causing a resurgence. They were dreadful at the start of the year. But they've still got problems, Wolves. They still don't have someone that you look at and think he's going to score you enough goals to keep you in the Premier League. He's going to be the man that will score however many goals this season. Given the situation they are in the league, they need someone that will do that. Time is still there in the window, and maybe Matheus Cunha can become that. Raul Jimenez can find his form of, well, before that horrific injury. Maybe Diego Costa can become the striker he was at Chelsea. But I don't think any of that's going to really happen. I think they are going to be relying on the squad scoring enough goals rather than having that one player you can rely on and trying to essentially keep goals out in the one end defensively and just trying to, whoever gets the goal, get a goal. Whether that's a poacher's finish, whether that's a P-roller or a mistake, they'll take anything they can kind of get. And I think that's a risky that's risky business for Wolves because you can't always rely on just a moment of magic or a mistake to win you a game. But I think Wolves, that will be the way Wolves win this game. But they're not going to win the game, are they? Because it's Man City. And we saw against Spurs how good Man City are. They can just turn it on. Awful in the first half. Pep Guardiola gives them a bollocking and they come out and they absolutely blew them away. 4 goals in that second half to win 4-2. And I think it's going to be a similar story today with a 3-0 Wolves defeat. Man City to win 3-0. Arsenal versus Man United. And I am shitting myself for this game. I am absolutely shitting it. We do have a match preview and a watch along for the game. The preview will be out tomorrow, and of course the watch along will be on Sunday. But yeah, I am shitting myself for the game because Arsenal are the best team in the league at the moment. Man United, while we're playing some great stuff, and while we have beaten Arsenal already this season, and while we have done well against the top 6, the traditional top 6 this season, we are now going to the Emirates, a place we haven't won for so long, for about 6 years, I believe. I don't think we've won at the Emirates since about 2017, 2018. So we're going there without Casemiro. We're going there without our best ball-winning midfielder. And instead we're going to have to play either a Fred or McTominay in there, if not both, to try and stop Arsenal. Which is scary because I think we lose so much of what we're about when we have to drop Casemiro and when we don't play Casemiro and when Casemiro's not on the pitch. We're a much worse side, and Arsenal have shown this season they can, even the best teams in the world, they can outplay and they can outpass and they can beat convincingly. It's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a really tough game. And look, I'm an optimist. I like to say I believe Manchester United will win this game. I believe we can win it. And of course I do believe we can win it. But that doesn't mean I'm under no false pretenses. I know how hard the game will be to win. It's about, and I do think, you know what? I do think we will. Do I? Am I talking up my ass? I don't know if this is my heart talking or my head. 2-1 Man United. Definitely my heart. Arsenal are unreal as well. I want to make that very, very clear. Arsenal are unreal. They are so good. And it pains me to say it as a Man United fan, but they are really good. But it gives me optimism. The way I can look at that Arsenal team, and I've always seen the Arteta project. And it makes me optimistic for how good Manchester United can be under Erik ten Hag. Knowing this is how good Arsenal are, and this is Arteta's first proper job. Imagine Erik ten Hag, who is experienced in building teams and building these sort of foundations. How good can Manchester United become under Erik ten Hag? Yeah, I am going to go for a Man United win. Bias definitely, but I won't be, if Arsenal win the game, I'm not going to be surprised at all. And the final game in the game week is Fulham versus Spurs. And if we look at the league table, there's not much split in these two sides. Fulham, 2 points off Spurs, same amount of games played. So it is going to be a very interesting matchup. Who do I think will win it? It's a tough call to make. I think Spurs, they're slowly but surely getting all their players back from injury. Out of who? Which game? I'll go through all the games again. Anyway. So yeah, the only player Tottenham are currently missing is Lucas Moura. Whereas Fulham, they are missing 1 or 2 players. They're missing Shane Duffy. and Cabano. Those two players aren't really that kind of crucial to the way Fulham play. So more or less, they are both going to be first 11s. So it does make this game more interesting. That fact. Arsenal versus Man United. I'm going with my heart and saying Man United 2-1. 2-1 Man United. But if I'm thinking with my head, probably Arsenal. Probably Arsenal, if I'm honest. But my prediction will be 2-1 Man United. It's hard. Again, I keep saying it's really hard to call because Spurs are so inconsistent. So inconsistent. They went from 2-0 up against Man City at half time. They weren't playing unbelievable football, but they were playing well. And you couldn't, while you could begrudge them a 2-0, you couldn't. I don't think you could say they deserved to be losing. Second half, they were abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And they lost the game. They lost the second half 4-0. So, if we see that Tottenham, Fulham will win the game. If we see a Tottenham that we know they're capable of being, well, then Tottenham can win it. And that's what makes this game so hard, because we see so many different Spurs teams under Antonio Conte. They are so inconsistent. It's hard to call, but I am going to go for a Fulham win. 2-1. 2-1 Fulham. Marco Silva's got something cooking for me. I can feel it. So again, to go through all the games, for those of you who are only just tuning in, I've missed them. Also, please do get involved in the live chat. Let me know your predictions as we quickly go through them again. And if you are enjoying the stream, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. So, to go through it, Liverpool versus Chelsea. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. 2-0 Nottingham Forest in their game against AFC Bournemouth. Leicester City will lose 3-0 to Brighton and Hove Albion at the King Power Stadium. I think the Liverpool will be very tough. Are you a Chelsea fan then? Because that's essentially what I said as well. Liverpool have turned up against the big teams this year. Look at their game against Man City. Chelsea aren't in the greatest of form themselves. It's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be a great early kickoff as well. I may be doing a watch along for it. I don't know for certain. With it being the early kickoff, I might not be. I'm out tonight, so I might not be in a fit state to be able to watch it. But if I am in a fit state, we might be doing a watch along for the Liverpool Chelsea game. I'm an Arsenal fan. Love your channel. Just subscribe. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Well, obviously you're an Arsenal fan. You've got a gunner in your name. I'm an idiot. But yeah, thank you for subscribing. We will be doing the watch along for the Arsenal game on Sunday, so tune in for that. Where was I? All the games. Brighton, Leicester, 3-0 Brighton. Southampton versus Aston Villa. I am going for a 2-1 Aston Villa win. West Ham versus Everton. I'm going for a 2-0 win for the Hammers. And that should, if I'm Everton manager, if I'm Everton's board, that would be Frank Lampard's last game in charge. If Everton beat West Ham, that would be David Moyes' last game in charge of West Ham if I'm West Ham's owner. If neither of these teams win, that would be their both managers' last game in charge. Both teams need to win. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. I've gone for a 3-1 to the Geordies. Leeds versus Brentford. I've gone 1-1. Man City will beat Wolves 3-0. Arsenal to beat Man United. No, wrong way round. Wrong way round. Man United to beat Arsenal by 2-1. And Fulham to beat Spurs by 2-1 as well. I don't remember last time Everton won. I don't think even Everton fans know the last time Everton won a game of football. The last Everton game, Everton won was in October. They beat Crystal Palace 3-0 in October. October 22nd. Since They've drawn 0-0 to Fulham, lost 2-0 to Leicester, lost 4-1 and then 3-0 to Bournemouth, lost 2-1 to Wolves, drew 1-0 with Man City, lost 4-1 to Brighton, lost 3-1 to Man United, and then lost 2-1 to Southampton. Arsenal will beat Man United. Arsenal will beat Man United again like last season at the Emirates. Man United win for 2-1. I mean, I'm not surprised you think Arsenal are going to win. And like I said, if I was going with my head, I'd probably say Arsenal would win as well. But I'm a biased Man United fan. We're going to beat you. There we go. Anyway, that is going to be it from me today. If you have enjoyed, again, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. And please do share the channel with your friends and your family. It helps to grow this community. 536 strong. So thank you all so much for that. Like I said, tomorrow we will be live once again for the Manchester United versus Arsenal match preview. We'll go into a little bit more depth about that game, going through the lineups, so on and so forth. You know what to kind of expect in a preview. And then on Sunday we will have a watch long for the Arsenal and Man United game. Tomorrow morning we may also have the Liverpool Chelsea game. Not 100% sure about that just yet, but if you are subscribed, if you have hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when we go live for that. So there's no reason not to be tuning in for that tomorrow. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one in a bit. Peace.